Hey guys, we have a special podcast today because Chrissy and I went to Mexico City. We did a little NASCAR, but more importantly, we got to interview one of the best chefs in the world, and his name is Enrique Olvera. And if you know about him, you're in for a treat. If you've never heard about him before, you have more than likely been influenced by his sort of genius mind of his. So stay tuned, and we're going to get into a MOIF, and we're going to talk a little bit about Atlas. We're in terms of Mexico City, and then sandwiched between that is our interview with the great Enrique Olvera. Let's get to this. Welcome to the Dave Chang Show, part of the Ringer Podcast Network, presented by Majordomo Media. Thank you, Yola Tango, as always. We are remote. This is a little bit of a cut and paste podcast because a couple weeks ago, Chrissy and I were in Mexico City, and we went there for the specific goal of joining the Amazon sports team. We clearly do stuff for Thursday Night Football, but they're growing their Thursday night sports audience. And one of the things they're covering now is NASCAR. And, you know, whether you know it or not, you couldn't find two people that know less about NASCAR.
It's true. It's true. I think we should safely say, Dave, that we accomplished a television first, at least for NASCAR, that we had a Korean American man talking about Mexico City on NASCAR coverage.
And I was also the Grand Marshal for the Xfinity series. So if you don't know what a Grand Marshal is, I didn't either until Friday, because clearly somebody had to drop out. But to back it all up, we got to Mexico City a couple weeks ago, and we've said for quite a bit on this podcast that we think it's one of the best eating cities in the world, arguably one of the best in North America, if not the best, because there's something you should know about this place. And I would say since the mid-90s, there have been two, maybe three cities globally that have sort of drawn people in over the years, right? And if you go back, say, the past 100 years, like you had Shanghai, you had all these expats there, you had places that you would not expect to have a diverse sort of foreigner population. And Mexico City's got it going on. In the past 30 years, I'd say, most recently Copenhagen, right? Mm-hmm. You have, creative artists from a variety of fields there, right? Clearly a lot of food people, not just chefs, journalists that cover food, beverage people, coffee makers, wine people, spirit makers from around the country, around the world, moved to Copenhagen over the past 10, 15 years. And before that, I would say maybe Barcelona. And that was really pre sort of foodie movement in the sense that it was the beginning of El Bulli and the rise of modern gastronomy. And a lot of people were spending time in Barcelona. Probably not as much as Copenhagen, because I think that peaked because of sort of social media, etc. But Chris and I have been in this game for some time. And I know a lot of those people from the Barcelona days and clearly the Copenhagen days. And what I was not prepared for was this sort of, wow, there's a lot of people here from New York City, from Europe, from Australia. And Chris and I continued to bump into so many different food faces.
And it's funny because you noticed it pretty quickly. And it's something you can't. It's not about like, okay, what does the food media say the next hot city is? It really is. You bump into people in these cities. It was Copenhagen before. Like you'd walk around Copenhagen and be like, whoa, what are you doing here? Oh, I moved here 6 months ago. What are you doing here? Oh, I've been here for a year. I've been working in X restaurant. Walking around Mexico City, that was the thing. We kept running into people who were just like, you live here now? Yeah. And like that is like the real sign. People are flocking there.
We bumped into Niels, who was head of PR for Matador Records. Didn't get a chance to really talk to him because we were so busy, but he was sort of our fixer for the NASCAR coverage we did with Daniel Suarez, who won the Xfinity. We were responsible, much like we were responsible for people winning the Pulitzer Prize. If you so happen to be in motorsport racing and you do some kind of food content coverage with us, it does increase your likelihood that you're going to win, as Daniel Suarez showed. This, a son of Mexico winning in the race. Yeah.
Numbers don't lie. We are 100% in terms of races. Dave was the Grand Marshal and our guy winning.
So yeah, we get there and we see people from our, the past 20 years living in New York, not New York. It felt like New York City, to be honest.
Yeah.
It had that sense of everything is possible. There's a vibrancy to it. I think it's clear to say that Mexico City has been going on and doing well for quite a few years. But now there is this concentration of foreigners that I didn't quite understand. And I think we're going to be seeing the second wave of Mexico City's sort of rise to global culinary prominence. But before we talk about the NASCAR stuff, we had some tacos. We didn't go out of our way to have the best tacos. We had really great tacos.
Yeah, well, this is a test that you always like to talk about, though, right? It's like it's one thing for a food city, to have great restaurants, great, fine dining, great ambitious restaurants, whatever you want to call them. It's another thing for it to have great street food. It's another thing to have some great chains, but like the truly great cities it's amazing at every single level. And people will tell you when you go to Mexico City, oh, go to El Califa, go to Orinoco, where we ended up on our very first night. Those are chains. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them in Mexico City, and they're fucking awesome. So like, that if you suggested a chain taco restaurant in LA, people would be like, nah, that's a chain. You got to go to a small, one-off stand. But like, we went to Orinoco the first night. Dave, you ordered everything.
We ordered a little much.
Do you want to share our one big gringo mistake, though?
Well, we didn't go to Khalifa, and it was mainly because it was close by, and there's several locations of it. But we're with Ross, our producer on Amazon, and we go to Orinoco, and they're known for the pastor tacos. And what I like about this place is they just put a tray of salsa on your table, and you wait for the food to come. We ordered, I don't know, 15 tacos.
Yeah.
But I also saw these potatoes, and I was like, like 5 was like, I don't know, $3. 12 was like $4. I was like, yeah. I wasn't going to ask anything more, because like sometimes I go to a taco place in LA, and I'm not even sure the kind of taco it is, but they have these like stewed potatoes that are like confit in pork fat, and then I love them. I didn't know that these potatoes were going to be in every platter of tacos. So we obliterate. We just have a delicious time having some beers. Next thing I know, I'm continuing to eat these potatoes, and we didn't need to order them. So not that you shouldn't order them. They just know that when you go to Orinoco, get the tacos, the sign that you're a tourist and no shit is if you order an extra side of potato.
I think the strong moves from Orinoco. So it's al pastor tacos, like on the trompos, like their main meat. They offer a couple of different meats. They have beef. They have chicharron, was awesome. It's like a stewed chicharron, which I don't think enough people get here. Lives in that kind of between. It's wet and it's still crunchy. It's the texture that Dave talks about all the time that I like a lot too. The move around Mexico City had a lot of these, whether it's a chain or not, taquerias that have al pastor to get a costra. So they like put the cheese onto the tortilla, they griddle it for that kind of, browned, crispy cheese skirt, and then the al pastor goes on top. I think my favorite was the chicharron though. What did you like?
I don't really remember anything. I just was so full. I don't remember anything because I ate so many goddamn potatoes. I felt bad.
They were perfectly fine potatoes, but it was literally every plate had potatoes, and then we got another mountain of potatoes on top of it.
So yeah, we were in Mexico City with Amazon, and they gave us a hard time. Some of the commenters about our ability to talk about tacos. But remember, we're there trying to film a scene, and we talked to Daniel Suarez, trying to match a taqueria that might be close to Monterey, and that was the closest in our area. We also went to an auto body shop, and anyway, after I did the Grand Marshal and I had to learn Spanish quickly to see, driver start your car. I was freaking out because I kept on saying pelotas, which is, test balls, but like, can also, most people say pelotas as, testicles.
Uh-huh.
And I kept on saying that by accident because it's pelotos. I did it again, just trying to pelotos.
Pilots, pilotos.
Enciendan sus motores. Driver, start your engines. And I needed Chris's help, but he ditched me. So whatever. Anyway, hung out with Dale Earnhardt Jr., a lot of the NASCAR team. Chris and I had the most fucking insane dinner of all time.
Oh, yeah.
I listened to Dale Earnhardt's wife's podcast, and they talk about this crazy dinner we had at, what was the name of the restaurant?
It's a fashion steakhouse in Mexico City called, oh my God, Chambao.
It's next to the Tiffany store. And I got to say, when we walked into this restaurant, we were a little late. I immediately wanted to murder Chris because I was like, what are we doing here? It looked like a high-end fashion store with a lot of models in there. I was like, clearly we're in the wrong address. And I wanted to honestly just like kick Chris in the shin and be like, come on, dude, like, let's get out of here. Why are we here? And then he's like, no, this is the right address. And we weave through these people changing. It was almost like a fashion sale. That's what it felt like. Clothes everywhere. We get up the escalator, and sure enough, it's a packed restaurant. And I have nothing else to say other than I'm glad that I ate there. It may be the most insane restaurant I've ever been to. It's a steakhouse. It was very difficult for us to order food. We had a great time with the manager. Once we understood how to communicate, we got it all figured out. And it's one of these, corporate dinners where everyone's there. The fact that this restaurant was insane. So we should do a whole podcast just about this restaurant. But all I'm going to tell you is look it up. And even if you look it up, it won't express how insane it is, because it's an experiential restaurant that every sort of 20 minutes or 40 minutes has either a saxophone player or classical guitarist or like a band play, and it alternates with a runway models walking and doing a catwalk throughout the restaurant, and there's sparklers. Feels like you're in a nightclub. I don't know how else to describe it. Feels like you're in the Cheesecake Factory. One of the most bizarre restaurants I've ever been to. The night before, we went to Maxime's Bistro, wonderful restaurant. These are all places you can recommend. I don't know if I can recommend Chambao.
Well, I was gonna say,
it doesn't need our help because it was very busy.
It doesn't need our help, nor would I recommend it, except for as an anthropological study. It's the wildest place I've ever been to, for sure.
Yeah, I have to say, I don't know if I've ever been to a restaurant quite like that. It needs to be studied. The food was very tasty. Everything just go there.
It was packed. It's fucking packed.
Unequivocally the strangest moment I've ever had with the whole thing. So I was just glad to participate in it because it's a night that I'll never forget.
Yeah.
But in general, I wanted to talk about we had a great Krista wasn't joining us, but we had Limonterra. What was the name of this bar?
Limontour. It's like a cocktail bar, I think, right in Roma.
They served some snacks too, and the team there took extraordinarily good care of us. Wonderful beverages, very delicious. And then Chris had to ditch us. And then we had Ultramarinos Del Mar, owned by restaurateur Lucho, who's the chef. He has Martinez, a couple other spots. And they took good care of us. But I'm going to say right now, I think that was the meal of the year for me. Um,
Whoa.
it was very, very good.
Whoa.
Very, very good. It's the kind of food that I want to eat as an old person now.
What does that mean?
Clean, simple, no bullshit.
Seafood. Just clean, simple seafood.
But it's almost like if you go to like a French, like a New Orleans style, seafood house, but there's no Francophile elements at all. And it was all sort of, and it was vaguely Mexican as well, but not. And it's the kind of restaurant that is hard to pinpoint exactly what it is and where it is, because you could almost feel like you're on the Lower East Side in terms of the vibe. But I highly recommend that. So in general, all the hot spots where people might want to go are really fantastic. We didn't get a chance to go to Quintanil, which amongst hardcore foodies have told us over and over again that that's the place to be right now and to check out. We'll put all of these names in the link. And then I got to say that one of the more memorable nights was a bar that Chris never went to again because he ditched us because he had other things to do.
However, Chris got you the reservation.
Yeah,
come on.
No, Ollie got it. Thank you,
Not
Ollie.
through Ollie. Not through Ollie.
We went to Handshake Bar, which was recently named, and I don't care about these listings at all anymore, but the number one bar in the world, Handshake Bar. And guess what, guys? It's the best bar in the world.
Fuck, dude. God damn it.
It really is. I mean, it was so fun. It was so fucking fun. And I love pina coladas. And a lot of this was developed off the back of Dave Arnold of Booker and Bax. A lot of the techniques, but done in a way and elevated, and flavors done totally differently, and in a way that where the environment was cohesive to the way you were drinking, and the whole thing made sense, even though it didn't make sense at all. But it was a clarified pina colada, and I could have had, I would have maybe 20 of those if no one else was there. Because every time they would pour the drink, and I'd be like, oh. And I would drink it like, done, like immediately, done. And I was like, I need more. That was my only problem, was like, I had to slow down because it was too delicious. It was so good. And then I had to try some things out. There were so many other drinks.
Strictly cocktails, or are they have food there too?
No, strictly cocktails. Listen, if you have the opportunity to go there, check it out because it's fucking cool as shit. I loved it. But I would say the dish or beverage of the year already for me was not the pina colada, as delicious as it was. I didn't try any other drinks, and I would imagine they're all good. I had a jasmine tea. I needed to see what that was like because there was like non-alcoholic beverage.
Mm-hmm.
It's carbonated jasmine tea with a little bit of sweetness, served chilled. It was one of the best things I've ever tasted in my life.
God damn.
And I ordered it for everyone on the Amazon team, and I think they all sort of agreed that I ordered 2 of those as well because it was just so refreshing, and there was no caffeine. And that's the kind of shit I love. Like when you get something that probably isn't ordered too much, but you can tell there's been a lot of thought and care and focus about how to execute it. And again, like a lot of this was Dave Arnold DNA, but it's cool to see it in a different fashion. And I thought it was great. I had a lot of fun. But overall, we didn't get to go to all the restaurants that we wanted to go to. We barely scratched the surface, but Mexico City, for the most part, is going on. Like you have people from New York, you have people from all over Europe. We have a guy that's Hapanat Ali that I cooked with at Cumulus 20 years ago, almost, in Melbourne, Australia. That's, he was a sous chef for Andrew McConnell that's now cooking in Mexico City. So it was like all of these people that I've met in my life are all converging in Mexico City. So very, very cool. And, Am I missing anything else?
Yeah, I think you buried the lead, man. I think you forgot one moment. I don't know if you want to talk about this moment that you described in our text chain as the third happiest moment of your entire life. Do you
Oh,
not
that's
want to talk
right.
about this?
That's right. I didn't know that you could smoke cigarettes in certain places in restaurants in Mexico City. And once I saw that the hotel that we were staying in had a restaurant that you could smoke in, I I did everything in my power to organize a moment where that could happen. And I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, but once I saw that you could smoke sitting down at a table in the smoking section, boy, did I jump at that chance. So
And this the funniest part about this is like it's a hugely momentous, wild occasion for us. Nobody in the restaurant bats an eye because they're just like, "What's the big fucking deal?"
yeah, everyone's smoking cigarettes. No one cared. And listen, I know it's not acceptable. I get it, but can you
It's
just give me
terrible. It's
this?
terrible. It's terrible. But like, just it's come on.
I was so happy that I didn't want them to change my ashtray. I wanted to just see this pile of cigarette butts overflowing. And I was just going butt to butt. I was just smoking, chain smoking, chain smoking. Not that I even enjoyed it. I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. The last time I smoked cigarettes indoors that wasn't a casino was Bait and Tackle, which is on 23rd Street in New York City, where I think, what was it, 2002, 2003, where a bunch of us after work um, wanted to keep on smoking until the clock struck midnight, and then there was no more smoking indoors. And as a former smoker, boy, did I love that. And it really was one of the top three, top five moments of my life getting to do that.
It was man, what a fucking city, and it definitely passes your litmus test of like a great food city. It's fucking great on every level. We walked into convenience stores just to admire. It's incredible.
So, yeah, if you haven't been to Mexico City, check it out. We love Mexico. We support Mexico, and we do everything for that country because it's fucking awesome and the people there are awesome. And it was an honor to be able to hang with all of the fans and get to sort of immerse ourselves in a sport that is new to Mexico City and hang out with all kinds of people that we never hung out before. So that was a lot of fun, and to meet a lot of old friends in what we do very strongly believe is one of the very best eating cities in the world. So you should check it out, and it's got it going on for sure. One of the we could have spent another week or two easily just eating, but uh, we were there to do the Amazon thing, and we were able to squeeze an interview that you're going to hear in just a second, where Chris, Ying, and myself go to Enrique Olvera's house, who has a bunch of restaurants in America, but he is most famously known for opening Pujol in 20 years ago. They just had a 20-year anniversary. Enrique Olvera has a few restaurants. He has Damien in LA. He's got Alta and a new taco shop in New York City. He just published a new cookbook based on tacos. He's I've known him a long time, and he's now sort of become this sort of elder statesman of sort of I don't want to use Michelin or ambitious level, but um, Pujol's a rad restaurant. And one of the things that I want to talk to him about was the thought process behind the mole dish, which was the last course at Pujol. We've talked about it before. I think it's arguably the best entree, best main dish anywhere. It is so representative of what he's trying to do in the country of Mexico. And just to get a sort of insight about 20 years and where he's going and what he wants to do. We want to keep it brief because, Enrique sort of took a lot of his time to host us at his house, and we were very grateful. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to eat at Pujol, but we certainly would have had we been there a couple more days. So you're going to listen to our interview with Enrique. Again, he was educated at CIA in Hyde Park, New York, worked in Chicago, worked for Jean Joho, who was a very well-known chef in Chicago, and then at a young age opened up Pujol in Mexico City. It's now in its second incarnation in terms of the location, and he just told us that just renovated the outside, which I'm curious to see because one of the great things about Pujol is being able to have your cocktail on the patio outside because it feels like you're at home. Anyway, Enrique, philosopher, right? He's a philosopher.
He's absolutely a philosopher. The energy of the philosopher, the thought process of a philosopher, for sure.
And Chris is with me, but he's manning the mics.
Good God, man. Thank you, Enrique, if you're listening, for bearing with us as me, the non-tech guy, set up our system.
And thank you, Mexico City. And remember, pilotos, enciendan sus motores. Drivers, start your engines.
Incredible.
So we're in Mexico City. Not planning to do a podcast with one of the great chefs in the world, but we're here for the Amazon NASCAR Viva Mexico 250. I'm going to be one of the grand marshals. Surprise, surprise.
Make sure you move on time.
So I got to ask him too. So if you heard that voice, we're joined with our friend Enrique Olvera. We talk about his restaurants quite a bit on the podcast, and I didn't want to bother him too much because, I mean, Enrique has his own sort of time, right? He moves at his own pace, and I always want to respect that, and it's clear. So he invited us into his lovely home here in Mexico City. So wanted to chat with you. Thanks for accepting.
Thank you for being in Mexico, and welcome to our little place here in Mexico City.
I have not been here as many times as people think. And I have recently come to admire that this is probably the best eating city in North America as a whole. And people seem to be surprised. Those that are in the know completely are like, oh, of course. You've always known this, though.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think at least it's the most dynamic. Things in Mexico are moving so fast. There's new projects all the time. There's great cooks that are interested in opening businesses in Mexico, because here is still, I think, a place that there's great joy in restaurants. No, I think in other parts of the world, restaurants have become businesses. No, and people that got attracted to our industry normally were renegades and people that were not good businessmen. But now, in order to be successful and to have some kind of self-sustaining business, you need to be really savvy. If you're opening in the US or in Europe, no, you're probably dedicating most of your time to things like HR, no, and financials and business strategy and marketing. Here in Mexico, it's not that it's not important, but it's still fundamentally about cooking.
There's still a sense of craft and artistry, right?
Yeah, I think, I mean, things here are very different. So I think in Mexico, if you're focused on great food, purchase. Right now, the only problem I see in Mexico is we are seeing the quality. I mean, this is everywhere in the world, but in Mexico, it's also happening. Like the good products are disappearing from the market like really, really fast. So that is an issue. But if you're still focused like on cooking, good service, having great staff, everything else kind of solves itself.
So I want to ask this so I don't screw it up, because this is unlocks quite a bit of our conversation, I hope. I have heard now native speakers and food writers, everyone, mispronounce or pronounce well Pujol or Pujol. Pujol. What is the
Pujol?
Pujol.
No?
Did you not hear recently?
I want to make T-shirts that say Pujol.
Because I felt like an idiot saying Pujol, and then someone corrected me as a Pujol.
They used to call me Ricky when I was in school in the US, so I'm not worried about pronunciation.
Okay, no, I feel good. So for those that know, it is Pujol. It's the record. I want to ask you this. You started cooking 96, or even before that, graduated CIA 99. You spent some time in Chicago, come back, and you open up 25 years ago, Pujol. Did you have any idea that this restaurant could be where it is today?
No, I think nobody knows that. No, back then when we opened, we wanted to be the best restaurant in the block. That's what we wanted, and then things started to happen, not only for us but as a whole. I think in Latin America, Gaston, Alex, all these people that really paved the road and then helped put Latin America in a protagonic space. And then I was fortunate enough to come like right after. So I think luck is or timing is something that you can never plan for. So of course we didn't have that plan. It was just good timing, and I think it was a special time also for restaurants. It was I think it was the best time.
Absolutely. And Enrique's talking about Gaston Acurio of Peru and Alex Atala of Brazil, good friends of ours, great chefs, and 100% have led the way. But I had lied to pretty much everybody in food because they would always ask me, have you been to Pujol? Everybody, every single fucking person. And I'd always say, of course. And for
Keep
one
lying.
reason or another, I had never been there, and I was just like, one day I'll get there. It's the same reason why I lie, but I've never been to Thailand. And it's just easier to just say, instead of being like, oh my God, you haven't? I'm just like, yeah, of course, it's wonderful,
I haven't been to Thailand either, but I'm dying to go.
You know what I'm talking about. And there's just been a recent, minor renovation outside, but I haven't been in a couple of years. And my first time eating there, and I want to get straight to the point here. Like you've gotten eaten all over the world. We've been at the very, very best restaurants. And I think about meals. I think about points of view from the chef. I think about, oftentimes in my head, if I'm on a plane or something, I'll think about like ranking things in my head, just for me, not for social media or anything. And when I came back, and over the past couple of years, I think that your last course, your mole course, is unequivocally the best last dish, best savory course in the world.
Thank you.
Aesthetically, it is so thought-provoking, modern, but not modern. It's almost like one of the great painters from the 60s and 70s, the modern abstract painting of like that, or something like that. But everyone tries to have a time and place in their dish, especially the past 20 years. It has to be representative of your terroir. And I couldn't think of another dish that sort of hits all the boxes. Delicious, stunningly beautiful, point of view, right, of the chef and the restaurant. But more importantly, the hardest one to tie it all in is it representative of the place you're cooking from? I can't think of another dish that actually is like, welcome, you might be a tourist. This is Mexico,
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. I was like, when and how did you think of that? And did you know 25 years ago that was going to be on the menu?
We started trying to make a mole, I think, around 2004. Back then was the deconstruction era of cooking. So we approached it that way, and we were always, it felt like we were short. We weren't up to par with the original mole. So whatever we were doing, it always felt like mole was better than the dish we came up. So we never put it on the menu. And then Ricardo Muñoz Zurita, a good friend of mine and one of the most knowledgeable people about Mexican cuisine, told me about a 7-day-old mole that they do normally for celebrations in a town in Oaxaca. And then that just stayed in my mind and started to figure out, okay, maybe we don't need to do something different. Maybe we just need to do something that celebrates these traditions, and we just decided to make a 14-day mole. So that's how it started. We did only the black mole. The first time we served it was at Quintonil because it was the first year anniversary. So Jorge invited me to cook to the restaurant. It was a 1-year anniversary, so we thought it was like a good idea to do a mole for celebration. We actually served it on a bowl with tortillas on the side, and then asked people to move. Something that we always knew was that when people were eating mole, they were never talking about the chicken. They were always talking about the mole. So we said, like, no need to do the chicken. No, it's just killing animals for no reason. And then when we served it, we were very happy with it. And we said, like, okay, let's keep going. No, let's just never stop. And that's how it started going. And then the first presentation at Pujol was a tortilla that was dipped in the mole, and then we sprinkled it with ajonjolí, with sesame seeds, which is also very traditional for the mole from Puebla, which is a more contemporary mole, like a colonial time mole. But we thought it looked nice because it looked a little bit like the universe, because it looked like a black sky with some stars sprinkled on top. And we served it like that for like a year, maybe. And then after a year from reheating the mole, it just felt like it was getting tired. It was losing the punch. It was very earthy, like more ashy, and it didn't have the liveliness of the spice and the fruit of the moles that we loved. So we decided to make the same kind of mole without charring, so that it would be high on spice and high on fruit. And then that's how it came to be as it is now, which is the new mole in the center, and then the black mole. But it was a process. No, it was not a dish. I don't believe in dishes anymore that are created like in a lab in isolation. It's a process, and you're like right now we're serving because Pujol's menu changed also recently, so now we're doing regional seasonal instead of just seasonal whatever we wanted. So now we're cooking from the Pacific coast of Mexico, and so we're doing now the black mole with a pipián from Colima inside instead of doing the new mole and the old mole. And then we're doing the Maya menu in September, so we'll probably do a mole from the Maya region. And I think that's beautiful because now you have the black mole always, and then all these regional moles.
It's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And
that's a great thing about restaurants.
Beautiful.
And we're out of time. Sorry, guys.
You know, like, I can't tell you how much I've thought about that dish so many times, because exactly everything you're saying. I never asked you. I was like, there's no question in my mind that this has been an evolution from an idea, try it, failure, I'm not happy with it, and it's constantly evolving. And I talk to younger cooks, and I know you see what I see. They're immediately like, I have an idea, and it's going to be this. And they almost don't want to make the mistakes. The failures, they want to go straight to what they believe is the end goal. And everyone's trying to, as a younger chef, have that sort of, for lack of a better term, because it's not a signature dish, I think it's something else, that dish that represents them. I'm like, if I think that this is probably the platonic version of how you can have a dish representing you, your restaurant, your country, and you did it this way, then I think there's no other way to do it than to fuck it up.
Yeah. Now that we changed the menu, I was speaking with Daniel, our new head chef, and he was like a little bit concerned about like the new menu. And I told him, like, just like, don't think about the dishes. Just think about how you source, think about techniques, no? And then things will come up by themselves, no? Like, you really don't have to think about the end, no? Like, if you're sourcing amazingly, no? And then we did a really good investigation of all the techniques, from that region, then you just shuffle around. No, so instead of making birria from goat, we're making it from mussels. No, and we found these beautiful beans, and we just serve them with. And then it's very simple. No, and we still like to play around a little bit, but we've also, I think, we're very happy with not creating and just serving plates that are delicious.
Well, I'm not done singing praises on this dish because I've thought more and more. And, we've long had a conversation with Jerry Saltz and other people in art about food in restaurants being art. And I've come around to saying, like, it can be, certainly be. I think that, to my knowledge, I haven't had everything, but it's the best version of art on a plate because it's interactive. You take, a tortilla and you swipe it through and you just change the whole process. It's old and new. It's this dichotomy of everything. And now it's evolving into different regions of Mexico. I don't think that I just think it's the best. It's the best dish you could possibly have in a restaurant.
I think I've always been really intrigued about things that have no they don't have like it feels like they belong in the past, in the present, and in the future. No, like for example, la tortilla. No, a tortilla is so old, fits perfectly in the present, and I can see it living forever. No, and I think as somebody that really enjoys the process, I think that is what you want to do. No, like dishes that have this like longevity, and something that we also want to do with these regional menus, that we want to come back. I want to have the possibility to come back to dishes, which is something that we didn't have before. Before we used to do a menu change. For example, in Cosme, no, we would do the seasonal menu, and then whenever the next season we change it entirely, and then you start to realize there's so much knowledge that we've lost, no? And then every time you have a new season is a possibility to rectify, to learn. No, it's kind of like in Japan they do it like this. No, a sushi chef is never like thinking about, no, like how am I going to change my menus? How am I gonna this year make it better than last year with the same products from this season? Mm-hmm. And maybe it's the age, maybe as we grow older, we start to realize that cooking is a little bit more like a circular thing than a linear thing.
Well, so perfect segue into the next thing I want to talk to you about, because over the past, I would say, going back to Charlie Trotter, who was probably one of the first American chefs to try to bring in Japanese concepts into degustation and the plating. And clearly it's sort of been this acid that's gone into all kinds of cuisine. But I would say that, and you see a little bit of Damien, you've seen a little bit of it Cosme, but it's certainly more prevalent and more sort of forward, but not in your face in a negative way. The influence of Japan on you in your food. But if you didn't think about it, it's not really there. If you didn't say it was a taco omakase, you wouldn't think it was there either. It's because it's a very natural progression. And then like when I was eating, I was thinking about the flavors and I was like, oh, I think Enrique, clearly, I know you get it, but like you see it in a way where I always want, when you're merging things together, that you cannot see the seams, right? You look at a dish or a fabric or a bag and you're like, oh, you marvel at its construction. And it took so much time and thought to figure out how to put the joints together. And I was like, oh, it clearly makes sense, because over the past 15 plus years, I've realized that Mexico has been very similar to Japan. Both of those countries have just taken from everybody, except that Japan gets all the glory. But Mexico was more open than any other country I can think of in terms of cuisine. They don't really fucking care where you're from or who you are. If it's delicious and we can sort of work with it, let's use it. And it was almost like, oh, this is like some of these flavors and some of the integration was like, it was a future version of what, if a Japanese chef moved to Mexico 150 years ago, this is what it was going to look like. And I thought it was awesome. Like, just imprinting, what's the classic technique of putting a herbaceous leaf in a tortilla?
Yeah, I mean, it's been done not forever, but at the same time, nobody's doing. It's crazy because no, it's been done forever, but then we stopped doing it. I don't know why, or at least it was not popular. And I think something that is beautiful about Japan is that they have their own not only ingredients and techniques, but they also construct the restaurant differently because it makes no sense. If you have different ingredients and different techniques to present it in a European setting. And that is something that we were doing ourselves here in Mexico at Pujol when we started. I mean, I was also very young, so I was not even thinking about these things. But after 10 years, I started thinking like this in my head, it started not to make sense to do a tasting menu in the same way you would do it for other European cuisines in Mexico. First of all, because the techniques are very different, the proportions are also very different. How you sauce a dish in Europe is very different on how you sauce a dish in Mexico. And all there is like 8 ounces of protein, 2 ounces of sauce. Here is 8 ounces of sauce, 2 ounces of protein. So, and then presenting that in a small portion, it also makes really no sense. So that, like 15 years ago, we started thinking about these things, and then we've made small adjustments throughout the last 15 years. We still have to brainwash ourselves because I mean, it's really difficult when you're raised a certain way. And most of my education in fine dining was from eating at these great places. And in a way, it stays with you. And then it's hard to unthink like that. No? And it's something that we're trying to do, not think about presentation, not think about placing preparations on a dish more than putting them to create something aesthetically. But it's I don't know. We still have a lot to go. I think we would love to be able to create a style of dining, because also fine dining restaurants in this country that are Mexican it's a new thing. Mm-hmm. Even if you think about a traditional Mexican restaurant that is fine dining, it didn't exist. No, it's not that we did contemporary fine dining for a long time, but nobody was doing fine dining that was traditional here, as they did, for example, in Japan. So it's something that now we're also very much involved in, is how do you make traditional Mexican cooking that is fine dining?
And again, it seems simple in conceit, and a lot of people try to copy, but it just, for whatever reason, doesn't happen, and it just happens more easily for you. And whether it's how you make the flavors, but I think it doesn't always have to be the food itself. I think one of the greatest, I have to think, probably the first version of it. And my bet is over the next 10, 15, 20 years, you're going to see more concepts of your taco bar, your taco omakase. But it's not going to be tacos. I think people are going to realize I don't have to do Japanese flavors. I can do it the way I want to do it, at whatever food I want to do it. So I was telling our good friend, you should do it as a barbecue spot. Just slices, keep it simple. So I just encourage people when they come here, it's don't just go and eat the food. Just see how Enrique is thinking about things. We were talking about Renee before we started this podcast, and I think one of Renee's great strengths is being able to produce an idea in his head. And I think you're definitely in that rare Mount Rushmore of individuals that can take an idea and put it out there in a way they're like, when I heard about the taco omakase, I was like, fuck, it's so fucking good. Why didn't I do that? A lot of younger cooks, I don't want to stress just younger cooks, but I feel that they might be listening to this. Or people that have their first restaurant, like when you opened up Pujol, in your late 20s. And there's this incessant need and desire for them to do a degustation tasting menu, to be considered serious, right? Because they want the stars. They want to be top 50. We won't go down that road and that can of worms, but I would love your opinion on this, because I tell them, if you're going to cook in that fashion, you're going to diminish your point of view and what you're trying to say. And what's more important is, clearly you know how to cook, but like, do you have something to say? And in the structure of a 15-course degustation menu, I understand the need to do it, but it'd be maybe more exciting if they tried something like a new format. Whatever it is, I don't know, but there's got to be something else out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not for everybody, definitely. There's many ways of approaching restaurants. I would say, also Pujol didn't start as a tasting menu. We started a la carte. Then we moved to a prefix. Then we moved to a tasting. And now we're back to a prefix. Because I believe in options too. But I wouldn't be, I mean, if you want to do it, do it.
If you were going to start all over today, would you do a tasting menu?
Right now, no. But in 2000, yes.
Why today, no?
Because I think now it's... I see cooking in a very different way. I think that a tasting menu is like an album, no? You're producing a story, so you're not producing dishes. You're thinking about a whole experience. That experience can take a long time, and it needs some mystery. And now this age has very little mystery. Like before, I remember when you arrived at Pierre Garnier, you didn't know what the menu was.
He didn't know what the menu was going to be,
and you didn't know the restaurant. No, now with social media and Instagram, it's kind of like every day. It's really hard to impress or to do something that has a little bit more mystery. So I think now I would probably. I think that the taco bar menu works well for corn. It's a great, I think, like a great setting for tacos as well. But maybe I would do that, and then a little bit a la carte. I'm very interested now in simple, elegant, not fancy in a way that is. Like overly worked, and I also don't want any show.
Right.
I'm exhausted of the show in restaurants. So like with our front of the house staff, I always tell them, like, please keep like the explanations as short as you can. No, it's better that people ask you than you tell them. No, I always tell them, like, if they ask, give them the whole speech. No, because there's dishes that have like a long story, and we have traceability of everything that we use. If you want to talk about like the corn as you would talk about wine, we can, but I don't want to bore you with that. No, I don't. I think some restaurants you expect that. No,
just too many restaurants to talk about there. We've taken enough of your time. I want you to enjoy the start of your weekend. We've fumbled with the setup a little bit. Chris Ying is over there. He would be talking if we could set up his mic. But you came out with a new cookbook.
I did, and it's the third with Python. So it's about tacos, and I think tacos has moved in Mexico from the streets to restaurants. In the world, it moved from taquerias to home. So people are now cooking tacos at home. In Mexico, we didn't even do that. Like nobody did tacos in Mexico. If you wanted tacos, you would hire a taqueria to come home, and you would eat tacos at home, but you would make them. So nobody will do like a plated taco. They just put tortillas in the center, and whatever you're eating, you'll make a taco yourself. But it's something that I mean, it's kind of like a dream to see it, and I feel very grateful about it, that to see how people have embraced tacos in a way like they've embraced pizza or like other foods that are global now. And
it's literally on almost every kind of menu in America now.
Yeah.
Most of them not good, but they're getting better.
Yeah.
Getting better.
I think the best way to do a taco is to do it with whatever you have at home. So if you're living in Denmark, or if you're living in Australia, or if you're living in the US, your taco, the only thing that should be really good is the tortilla. No, so you focus on the tortilla, and then, like you said, if you have Korean barbecue, make a taco out of that with some cucumber salsa, and it'll be fantastic.
Well, that's easier said than done. Hey, Enrique, thank you for letting us in your home, and so much respect for you. And yeah, man, thank you.
Likewise.
Okay, I think we could have talked to Enrique for much longer, but his dogs were there. They were going away for Father's Day weekend, and we felt like we were intruding on a very peaceful weekend with his family. So, yeah, and I should say that Chris and I, we had some pollo al caldo, which is chicken soup. I had it every day when I was there. I got it delivered. Everything's available in Mexico City. So we went to a new spot. What was the name of that?
Pollo al caldo de Leo, I think. De Leo?
Yeah, very clean, very nice. I would eat there a lot, but I still think Luis del Galino is my favorite spot. It's one of my favorite spots. And there's a couple locations now.
I think De Leo is not even like it's funny because if you're in Mexico City, you're just like, what are they? They're recommending my local diner? But like, yeah. It would be like the best restaurant in a lot of cities, just your local diner. So, and
we didn't get a chance to. There's so many taco shops. There's so many eateries. There's so much to do, and that's why if we take Little Meg's sort of crucible for a great food culture, food city is the street food, the convenience food, the food that's in sort of the convenience stores is as good as anywhere else. And it's harder to find a bad meal than it is a good meal. Like you just go randomly, eat around, if the percentage is that everything is good to great, and it's hard to find something that's bad, which I do believe Mexico City has in spades, that's very much up there. So if we're going to do a World Cup of great food, and we've been toying around for those longtime listeners, World Cup of snacks. Like we really want to do a World Cup of something, especially as the World Cup is coming up. But I keep on thinking if we had like the best food cities, best food cultures of the world, or best food cities, I think Mexico City's in the semifinal. Final four.
Yeah,
Tokyo.
What's crazy about the thing that sort of distinguishes a city that's coming up, like, I don't know, Mexico City is amazing. I had a great, you weren't with me. I had a slice of fucking Neapolitan pizza that was really good. Like here, I think the sushi is pretty good in Mexico. I think you can get everything, and that's not even in like the direct wheelhouse. Like Mexico City, holy shit, man. It's top 3 in the world for sure.
Anyway, thank you, Enrique. Check out his new cookbook about tacos. Check out his restaurants if you are in the LA, New York City area. And of course, highly recommend you guys visit Mexico City or all of Mexico and eat its great food. But Pujol is awesome. And make sure you get that mole.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's take a break. We're going to come back with a MOIF. It's been a while.
All right, for today's MOIF, Dave, if your favorite restaurant of all time became a private club, how much would you be willing to pay for membership?
I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. A lot of my friends have joined a lot of the clubs in New York City and, whatever. But I just don't care. Enough to join a private club. You know what I mean? Like if there was a barrier of entry to get in that was a very costly entry, I wouldn't matter to me enough to go there.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't go. I don't know, with enough regularity to any restaurant, right?
Yeah, and not that like, listen, if I was invited to go, I certainly would go. But I personally, being a cheapskate myself, wouldn't want to pay for membership to something that was before free. Again, which is why I do like the Japanese model of invitation only, this type of stuff, where you have to earn the right. And listen, if there's a way you could earn it without paying, then yeah, maybe.
Sweat equity.
Sweat equity.
What else you got, David?
Okay, fuck, marry, kill, hagao, shumai, and chashu bao.
Wow.
Oh,
all right, I'm telling you right now, I'm killing char siu bao. It's not my favorite. I don't like it baked. I don't like it steamed. I don't. No offense to char siu bao fans. It sometimes tastes like a sloppy Joe to me.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Okay.
It's not like I'm not going to eat it, but like I don't love it. I can respect it. The craftsman. I don't love it. That's why I would kill it, because I can live my life without it.
The floor for a chashu bao is pretty low, is the problem. I think there's some very bad chashu bao out there, for sure. For sure.
And for those that don't know, char siu bao is more of an enclosed bun, not like a nikuman. Like it has a more of a reddish porky thing in the center.
So in this inside is chashu. It's Chinese barbecue pork, and then like it's like a pillowy white bread on the outside.
But why isn't that would be great if that's what it was?
That's what it's supposed to be, and then it's mixed with red food dye and hoisin sauce and honey and things like that. So it's like a super treacly sweet filling, generally speaking.
It's not my. I don't love it. Is that okay if I don't like it? Jesus Christ, Chris.
I think it's okay. I mean, so I was gonna possibly kill it. Chashu bao is my first love. It was my first love as a child was chashu bao.
I used to love her, but I had to kill her.
I think that might be for me. Now, okay, I think we would both have to kill chashu bao. Who are you marrying and who are you dabbling with here?
Oh, I'm marrying Hargao.
Oh shit.
I'm marrying Hargao because you can eat so many of them. Shumai's a once in a while, let's have an affair, fuck kind of thing. Good or bad, shumai never is like a really great shumai doesn't like knock me on. It's like it's a variety. I'll eat shumai out of like just variety for my Hargao consumption.
This is such a perfect metaphor for just society in general. I'm going to marry shumai. Your sometimes treat is my long-term partner. You didn't see the marriage potential in her. I'm marrying shumai. Hagao is when I see a nice hagao, I'm in.
Hagao's so delicate, and
hagao is so elegant and so
That's
beautiful.
Right. That's right. Put some respect on her name.
I'm not. I don't want to. I'm going to have an affair with her. I'm not going to treat her poorly. She deserves the best. A hagao, people don't understand. Like the wrapper of it all is crazy when you think about what that is made of. The shrimp, they treat that so it's like crunchy on the inside. It's a fucking thing of beauty.
So,
but I'm a shumai man.
No. Sometimes shumai has peas in it. I don't want that pea on the top.
I don't. Okay, there's no fucking peas in my shumai. The one I've married, there's no fucking peas in it for sure. Nor is there that thing that they will sometimes do where they put chopped quote unquote truffle on it. Ugh, can't do it.
Listen, I think a shumai is a little bit heavier. It's a little bit denser. All right.
Yeah,
you can eat six. You can eat 6 hagao to like, 2 shumai.
You can. I can eat 6 shumai. Listen, I like my dumplings with little meat on the bone. I like it. Nice and thick. I'm into the shumai, man. That's my thing. Marry shumai. Fuck hagao. We're both gonna kill chashu bao though.
Amen to that.
What else you got, David?
Oh, I got one. I don't have it's not my MOIF. I got one to finish on. So when we're filming with Daniel Suarez, We're in at what was the taco stand? Los Campanelos,
Los Caramelos.
Caramelos, and it's not exactly Monterrey, but it's right outside. It was it's more
Like
Sonoran.
Sonoran, yeah. Barbacoa.
But in terms of our ability to get permission, that's another thing people realize. Getting permission to film stuff. I just wish people understood how TV gets made sometimes. It's not nearly as easy as you might think it is. Anyway, I'm not bitching, but I am.
Well, just really quickly on that. You guys, like, people don't understand how much bitching I already listened to about which taco. Like, you guys think you have an opinion. So does everybody when it comes to which taco stand to film at. And, like, you have to find the place that makes the most sense.
Yeah, if you're wondering why a Korean guy is covering NASCAR, talking about tacos in Mexico City, so am I.
Anyway, the fucking tacos are delicious, by the way. I will stand on business with those tacos.
They're very, very good. They also had what was the torta they had?
So there's a torta. I forget the word for pregnant, but it's
a pregnant torta. And yeah, it's a quadruple starch. Very delicious. Anyway, while eating this, and Daniel Suarez, like, what a sweetheart. And his story of how he came to NASCAR driving a beat up Beetle with not any ability to speak English, and now being this sort of one of the top drivers in NASCAR. Very, very cool, very earnest, and big fan of his moving forward. He had probably the hottest MOIF of all. We're in the tacos, and he's like, by the way, guys, you have other beverages for tacos. His proclamation was for him, not for anyone else, but for him, you have to have a cold Coca-Cola with your taco. And I didn't hate it. Coca-Cola as a beverage, yes, it can be sweet, but when you're eating spicy things and things that have a lot of acidity and just party of flavor, which is what these tacos were, or tacos in general. And it's not the first time I've heard this. We should probably ask somebody that is more of an expert than us. But Daniel was pretty hardcore. I don't even know if it made the edit. His opinion as fact is you have to drink a cold Mexican Coke with your tacos, not horchata, not agua fresca, not a glass of water, not Topo Chico, none of that. You got to drink a Coca-Cola. And I thought, that's pretty good. I will back that. Again, I think it does pair really well, especially when you have like a lot of heat and acidity in your mouth. The Coca-Cola and the sweetness sort of just does a nice trick. And
I'm not a Coca-Cola drinker generally, but when he said that, I saw your eyes light up because you're like, oh shit, that is 100%. It is. It's like the carbonated, and there's something to the fact that tacos usually get served alongside, if not beer, with like agua fresca, with some kind of sweet drink. You've talked on this podcast a little bit about like that, like when a sweet drink makes sense. But I think like the sparkling of Coca-Cola with tacos, it made me crave a Coke for sure.
So
that's a good MOIF.
It's a good MOIF. Shout out to Daniel Suarez and his sponsor, Coca-Cola.
Yeah, let it not be forgotten. The man is media trained within an inch of his life, but it was great.
Give us 5 stars. We're remote right now, but we'll be back in studio soon enough. Thank you, guys. Give us 5 stars. Keep on sending in your Ask Daves to askdave@majordomomedia.com. You can also DM us. But remember that if and when you send in your Ask Dave, ask us.
Make sure you include your name, where you live, or close to it, what your Majordomo cooking level is, the favorite thing that you make, your bucket list meal, or the best thing you've ever had, and then finally the actual question you have. We're going to be choosing winners, but only people who send us all of this kind of getting to know you information will be qualified to win a prize.
Done and done. Thanks, everybody.